What sort of year are you going to make this? Are you going to make this a year that is like every other year that you've had in your life? Are you going to make what sort of year is this going to be for you? Is this going to be like every other year that you have ever had, or is it going to be something different? You have a unique you have a unique opportunity to actually do something different than you have ever done. You have cause to throw out routines and rituals and ways of doing things in the past because 2020 was unlike any other year in history, in known history. So 2021 has the same potential to be like any other year in history. And that example is you can be a different person. You have time that you've never had before, no matter who you are. You are looking at things differently than you have ever looked at them. Now, what if by the end of the year, you could become a different person? Now, I don't mean different person like a self-help book different person. I mean a different person that has different routines, different outcomes in your world. And that would look like if in 2020 or 2019 or 2017, 18, 19, 16, you did not achieve the goals that were really meaningful to you. You whether because you lacked the support or the know-how or the money to spend, or between you and I, truthfully, you didn't want to do it when the time to execute arrived. You found some other excuse, which is completely understandable. We're not robots. You can't say, I'm going to do this at 3 o'clock, and you do it at 3 o'clock every time 3 o'clock shows up, regardless of any sort of outside intervening event. It's just not possible. So there are going to be problems that are going to arise as you go to take hold of your year. And that could be you miss some workouts, or you miss some meals, or you get too tired and you don't go do them. The problem is you're going to beat yourself up over it. And a lot of times that is the most unfair part, is how you feel about not doing what you said you were going to do. That can just wreak havoc on your heart. But the truth is, this year will be like any other because we've never had a 2020 for a number of reasons. And 2021, piggybacking off of that year, all rules are off the table. All past behaviors are off the table. It's time to set a new table and play kind of a different game, And one of the ways that you can see that for yourself is when you think about why you haven't achieved something. And I know some people, they like to achieve because they like a rep record. They said, okay, this is the 6th time that I did it, the 7th time that I did it. And they're not so into the measurable, attainable, realistic timetable of an extra rep for an exercise, or an extra second for this, or an extra walk, an extra run, an extra yoga session. That's more of what they're interested in. They're less interested in, I want to lose exactly 2 pounds, because that causes them ache, and they recognize that by putting that level of specificity on it, that specific and concrete goal, that actually stops them from feeling good about the goal that they want to achieve. Where sometimes, oddly enough, if it's a process-oriented goal, or if it's specific and broad, which is kind of like a process goal. I want to eat well. I think that's a little bit too broad. If I want to eat well on the weekends, instead of making such terrible choices for whatever like a cheat day could be, that's one aspect of it. But remember, we've never had a 2020. Therefore, we will never have a 2021 again. As we all kind of go back to whatever new normal is, you have an opportunity to rewrite your playbook. Now, there are areas where you're competent. You know how to exercise this way. You know how to cook that way. You know how to use these spices. You know how to shop for food. Hooray. But that can be a huge marker if you've never gotten organic food before, or had it delivered, or shopped for yourself because you always ate out. Like, there are milestones to becoming more competent and more self-responsible. And essentially having more meaning in your life. Like, you're intentionally choosing certain aspects to bring into your life and saying, this is important to me and I want to do better at it. So there are competencies that you want to add to what you want to do. So here are the memorable moments from this video and what I'm trying to share with you today. Number one, we've never had a year like 2020. 2021 is an opportunity to rewrite anything you've ever done. It's a completely fresh start. Thinking about who you want to be by the end of the year. Are you the type of person who says, I'm a reader, I'm a writer, I'm a fitness person, I'm a cook, I'm more social, and so because of this social distancing and what we've had to go through, now maybe you're reaching out to more people because you feel more comfortable with it. I'm uncertain what those goals for you could be, but 2021, we've never had a year like this before. Who are you going to be by the end of the year? Everybody has an opportunity to grow. What is that growth point for you? And then how are you going to remind yourself? It's really awesome to have a goal and process, activity, whatever, specific and broad, specific and concrete. But how are you going to remind yourself kind of every day or even within the day? Some people will use notifications from their phone. Some people like to have a buddy who's actually going through it with them. Like I know people who they won't talk to their trainer. I am a personal trainer. They won't talk to their trainer. These are friends, so I'm not training them. But what they'll want to do is they'll want to talk to other people who are exercising with the trainer, because they want to talk to somebody else who's going through the same thing. They don't want an accountability buddy. They want somebody who's struggling also, who's making those daily sacrifices. So for you, what's going to help you stay on your stated goal all the way through the year? For myself, I have to attend to these things daily. If I'm not reminding myself, why am I doing this? If I'm not giving myself a really supportive narrative, then I'm going to end up in a narrative void, and I'm not going to know my story or what I'm looking to achieve, because I'm going to forget it, because I'm going to be solving some problem. My problem-solving capacity is going to be oriented to something different than what, in my quiet moments, is meaningful to me as an individual, and then meaningful to me within my family, as a husband, as a dad and a father, and as a friend, and as a son, and as a brother, and as a community member, and a business owner, and a colleague, and all these things and all these different roles that I play. I can get wrapped up in the stories of those roles and forget about my narrative. So my goal for the year is to stay on task and on target with what I have chosen to be extremely meaningful to myself, and my goals for the year and how I'm going to achieve that. But that's how I keep myself accountable and reminding myself of the story that I'm living into through this next year. And if you don't look at 2021 as an opportunity, that's totally okay. But you could end up at the end of the year, the 5 years, 10 years, and look back and just say, I wasted it. I wasted whatever I had. You did not build something, so therefore you did not inherit something that you could have built, whether that's a stronger body to feel more flexible in a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years even. Or you did not take the time to learn the core competencies of cooking and eating well. And then you're still dependent upon food delivery, which is totally amazing. And we do that, especially here in Baltimore, trying to support the businesses that we really enjoy as a part of this ecosystem. Or on the other side of things, you can look back over this past year. See, that was the opportunity. That's when it started for me. That's when it clicked. That's when it changed. And I recognize that, taking in some other people that I've been talking to recently, they said, look, I did not have to try as hard when I didn't forget what my goals were. I could let the process unfold. I did not have to obsess about the details. I just had to remind myself of the goal, and then how I would achieve it started to continue to appear because I was scanning the landscape. And I thought that was a really fabulous idea, because then you did not have to like continue to figure out, how am I going to achieve this? How am I going to achieve this? How am I going to achieve this? They were telling me that they kind of let go of that process, and they just continued to remind themselves, here's my goal. Here's my goal. Here's why that's meaningful. Here's the type of sacrifice I have to give up in order to get that. Because they recognized, and then I have adopted this as my own ability to recognize this in my life, because I thought this was just so smart. You have to give something up. And you're never really going to solve all the problems. You're never going to solve or achieve all of the goals. But a key opportunity is you determine where you go. Your locus of control is within you, and you're saying, here's where I want to head. As that path appears and you're kind of on that journey and you're discovering it and it's unfolding, but it has recurring problems. If it's not one problem, it's another one. You try to get better at solving the most amount of problems that you can. But ultimately, we've never had a 2020 like we did. We will never have a 2021 like we will. This is an opportunity to rewrite everything. And ultimately, my hope for you is that, not that you take this in a serious sense, but more that you take it more in kind of a meditative sense, in a contemplative sense. Just where are you headed? And really, who defines that for you? Who defines where you are headed? And that's a pretty big and general idea, but more specifically, understanding other people are struggling and taking into account that they're trying to solve problems in their own life. And that may be pretty hard, and listening empathetically, but not needing to rescue them, but connecting with people and understanding, I can understand when I was trying to solve that. That is tough. So just use 2021 as an opportunity to collect yourself, decide who you want to be, and know that that is a possibility. And who you are, what activities is that associated with? What activities do you want to make more normal as a part of your life, so that as you look back on the book of your life and you look back over the story, I think there's so much more out there for you. So don't quit too early. Every day is a fight, and that's okay. It can be struggle and sacrifice, and you can still win. You can not solve the problem and still benefit greatly. I hope you have a great start to your year. Take care.